Right, the plan for this evening was to make some cushion covers, and not because I need to get them done in a hurry, but because I'm a bit of an enthusiast when it comes to sewing. I love sewing, and right, I'm going to show you why I want to make them, or why I wanted to. Right, so this is regular piping cord, and this is the super jumbo piping cord that the customer wants his cushions made from. So I wanted to see what it looks like because I'm that kind of person. So that was the plan. But then plans change, so I'm not going to do any sewing tonight. Instead, I think I'm going to have an early night and start again tomorrow. Right, so plans change because I went to the hospital to see my sister, came back, and I noticed that my mother had called my sister's phone, like there were 9 missed calls, because she doesn't have the number on my backup phone. I did try to call her mobile, but she didn't answer. I don't know, maybe because she didn't recognize the number. So anyway, not too far into the conversation, she had a medical emergency, and you know, it depends on how you react in moments of crisis or when things are happening to you. But I don't know, maybe I've got psychopathic tendencies. I tend to stay calm, I don't panic. So my mother's the opposite. So she was in the background, just reacting. And so I tried to find out what the problem was, and she told me. So she's got an alarm because she lives far away. So it would have been impossible for me or any member of her family to get over there because she lives, I don't even know how far it is, but it's at least 70 miles away from here. So it was going to be impossible. It wasn't one of those where I'd say, hang on a minute, I'm coming. That's impossible. So in situations like that, then you have to improvise. So I kept her on the phone, instructed her what to do, and waiting for her to call back at the moment. But she managed to talk to all the people that she needed to talk to about her situation. And anyway, she's all right. She's calm and so forth. But the reason I'm doing this video is because, no, I got to show you my fabric. See, I really wanted to, so I've got fabric on my mind. So this is the fabric for the jumbo sized piping, and I really wanted to sink my teeth into it, but alas, the moments, the moods changed kind of, or the moment passed or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so this, okay, so the situation with my mother, there was nothing that I could do about it except give her instructions as to what to do, which was to keep calm and not worry, etc. And I think part of the emergency was to do with the fact that she's worried about my sister, because the relationship that they have. So if I was to tell my sister what happened, then she'd start worrying. So both of them would worry about each other, whereas I'm in the middle and I'm not worrying about anybody because I deal with things logically and practically. So here's the God bit. So I know that there's a reason why my sister's ill, but I've not told her that. And I know, and in fact, I've not had contact with my mother up until recently for more than 10 years. But that's a long story, and one day I might go into it. I mean, some people know the story anyway, but I might go into it some other time. So I know what's going on with my mother as well. So basically, they needed to be separated because I think there was kind of like a codependency thing going on there. And I always said, if people who know me, would have heard me say, if my mother had to deal with me, she'd be a different person. And people would say, how can you say that about your mother? She's supposed to rule you, not you rule her. Well, whatever. So anyway, so the situation is, I know what's going on. And so my thing with God is this: if I can't do anything about it, then I can't do anything about it. So I couldn't. My sister's in hospital. I can't do anything about that. My mother's in Kent. I can't do anything about that. I can only do what I can do from this end. And besides, I'm pretty sure there would be people saying to me, "Oh, you should have got in contact with me." And I'm talking about people who live on the other side of the world. It's like, why do I need to get in contact with you? What are you going to do? Right? So I don't deal with things in that manner where everybody needs to know, because what's the point of telling people if they can't do anything about it? And besides, I have mentioned in the past to people things that they could do something about, and they didn't. So it's highly unlikely that they're going to be able to travel 70 odd 80, 90 miles to Kent to go and stay with my mother or something. So all of that aside, that's just background. So all right, so my mother's the kind of person who, she's mightier than everybody, for want of a better term, and nobody's ever been able to deal with her. But I always knew that I could, if put in the position where I needed to straighten her out, I could do that. And I think at a moment I stayed on the phone with her, and she hung up because she said her battery needed charging, and she was going to call one of her friends also. So she's okay, I'll call her back. Rather, she said she'll call me back when her phone charges a bit. But I think at this moment she's there in Kent, and she's got a lot to think about, because I'm not the same person I was 10 or 15 years ago when I used to have dealings with her, because I pretty much live to myself. I live separately. I do my own thing basically, but if I need to pitch in, then I pitch in. And I kind of think to myself, since reconnecting, I think she must be thinking, what manner of person is this? Because of the way I come across, I don't care about anything. I don't care about anyone. And in saying that, I mean from the perspective that nothing is a big deal to me. I've already explained this. I don't need anybody to like me. I don't care how anybody feels about me. I just live basically. And living doesn't include anybody else. I don't need anybody's permission. I don't need anybody's help. I don't need anyone to hold my hand, kind of thing, through life. So she must be kind of confused right now. Because the way I handled it, I didn't express any kind of worry, like, oh my gosh, are you all right? Yes, I did say, are you all right? But I asked in a very calm manner, because calm is what I do. I do logic and reason. I don't do emotion. So, a long story short, yes, I know that my sister's ill for a reason, but it's not for me to say. I will say when everything becomes clear. But it's just one of these things, like, obviously I used to teach Sunday school, so I know the Bible very well. And one of the things that I usually say to people as regards God is that he will make you suffer in order to fulfill his will. If he has a purpose for someone and someone else is in the way, he will take that person out of the equation in order for the other person to be able to do what they need to do. And so the example I use is Joseph, where he had to, all situations conspired for Joseph to end up in prison in Egypt in order for him to fulfill the mission that God had for him in this life. And in so doing, he kept his father in the dark. Joseph was ignorant of the fact that his son was still alive. All those years he thought his son was dead, but it was necessary for God to do that. Otherwise, he would have ruined the plan that God had for Joseph. So similarly, I can see all the parallels going on here, that my mother and my sister needed to be separated. And when they do come together again, it's going to be a different reality. Um, I, I mean, you can see I'm not worried. See, I'm smiling. Right, but so I'm not worried because I understand what's going on, but obviously beyond making sure that a person is all right, we are not God. I don't put myself in the position of God where I'm going to, like I said, dash to Kent on a mission of on a mercy mission, because that would be stupid. What am I going to do even if I get there? So I just leave God to be God. All life is in his hands. He's got a plan for everybody. Whether you believe in him or not, I do. I keep saying that. I do. You don't have to. But, my mother is his child. My sister is his child. And he wants the best for all of us. So nobody's ever sort of, we talk about loving your fellow man. And I'm the cruel to be kind type. Right, so you're gonna get the swift kick up the backside rather than the shoulder around the arm. If that is what you deserve at the time, that's how I do it. So there are people who say, "Oh, God is cruel." What kind of God is that? He's this and he's that. That's because such people are big softies and they just want to be treated like babies. I'm more the warrior type, so it's like, throw it at me, I can handle it. So in situations where we want to talk about showing love to one another, my idea of showing love isn't sort of leaving people in a situation to do worse when they can do better. So with my mother, her attitude has for a long time needed fixing, and this is going to sound really terrible, but she is at my mercy right now, because even when she wants to come and spend some time with my sister when she comes out of the hospital, and I've said, all right, I'll go home and then you can stay here with her. And she said, no, don't leave me alone, because I'm going to need help. And I said, well, I manage. And she said, yeah, but you're young. I'm like 78. Right. So I just think it's quite, it's just, I don't believe that in the same way that you go to school to learn, to improve, to me, this is what life is about. It's about improving, and I'm sure there would be people, if I was to ring someone, anyone, they would say, "Oh my gosh, is she all right?" And to me, that's just weak, because it's like that you don't have power over life and death. You don't have the power to make someone well, unless you're a doctor and you can administer medicine. But you, the doctor yourself, you don't have the power. So I think for me, I let God do his thing. Even when I'm ill, I don't stay ill for long, because it's a matter of, like, if I'm really ill, I feel really terrible. I say things to him like, look, if you want to kill me, just kill me and get it over and done with. And I think, he probably, wherever he is, laughing at me kind of thing, just because I don't look at it from a perspective of, oh, on my hands and knees, oh, God help me, this, that, the other. I don't do that, because that's asking God to change his mind about things. I just say, do what you got to do whatever you think is best. So here we are in this situation, and I think when we come out of it, my sister's going to be all the better, my mother's going to be all the better, and that's what we're supposed to want for one another. I'm not here worried about either one of them, because I know what's going on, and I've known what's been going on for a while. But actually, funnily enough, when my mother was going through a little episode, she said, oh, maybe it's because I'm worried. And I said, yeah, that's why she didn't want to tell you, because at first, when my sister was ill, she didn't mention it at all. It was only in the latter stages she mentioned it to my mother. And she was a bit put out. Oh, why didn't she tell me I'm her mother? Blah, 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 blah. So tonight she realized why she wasn't told, because you would worry. And, worry makes you sick. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't cure anything. It causes, it can make, you can worry yourself sick, literally. So I think that's what happened to my mother. She worked herself up a bit and ended up having a bit of an emergency, but she will be fine because these things come to help make us better people, bigger and stronger and better. And on that note, I'm looking forward to making my cushions, but not tonight because it's sort of I've got to get my head back into a sewing frame of mind. As curious as I am about what this is going to look like, I will wait until in the morning. Anyway, you guys have a good night. See you later.